Okay, we'll get started. Hi, everyone, for being here today again. My name is Anna. I am the Education and Outreach Coordinator for the ASGSR Student Board. And today we are going to be hearing from Dr. Kevin Sato, Dr. Alvaro Romero-Calvo, and Annie Shelton as they talk about how you can have an amazing ASGSR conference experience. So they're going to cover things like general conference etiquette and advice, how to give a successful poster presentation, and the kinds of student board activities that we have planned for you all today. So thank you all for being here today. Kevin, you can take it away.
All right, so you should see all the presentations. Hello everyone, and welcome to the ASGSR annual meeting, Student Poster Session 101. And as Anna said, the goal for these set of presentations is really to prepare you for the ASGSR annual meeting, your participation, as well as what to expect at the meeting, and then to learn about how to give a poster presentation and what a good poster looks like. And so this is a presentation that's being sponsored by Joy Amasa, who's the graduate and undergraduate student poster session chair, myself, Alvaro Romero-Calvo, who's on the ASGSR Governing Board and an assistant professor at Georgia Institute of Technology, and Annie Shelton, who will be the president of the student board at the start of the meeting. So why don't I get going forward? And so as I mentioned, I'll be talking about what to expect and what are the expectations for your participation at the ASGSR meeting. For many students, especially in middle school and high school and some undergraduates, this will be the first professional scientific conference that you'll be attending. So we want to make sure that you're prepared and ready to go and comfortable with attending the meeting and really get the ability to maximize your participation, to learn and to talk and maybe provide networking between both other students and with the professional scientists and engineering space commercial community as well. Annie will be giving a talk on the student activities that will be occurring. And also Dr. Calvo will be giving a presentation on how to create a scientifically impactful poster and how to present your poster and what to look for. So, what's our goals for your participation? And it's really quite a bit. We really do at ASGSR want to really provide a professional venue for you to present your outstanding science, technology, and engineering projects. We also want you to gain experience in interacting with and communicating your science, engineering with a very diverse society of professional scientists, engineers, space agency leaderships, and other students. This is probably the most important part because it allows you to gain that experience for how to communicate things with other students as well as with professionals who you're going to be interacting with in the future, especially if you go on to graduate school or if after your undergraduate career you go into your careers and a profession. Also, learn about how others discovered what their future goals are. A lot of things we do get asked by students is, how did you get to where you are today? What were the things you were thinking about? What were the things that you did to prepare yourself or to give you the ability to pursue your career goals and educational goals? And so that's really important. That's through your talk you'll have with both students, especially graduate students. For those of you who are high school and middle school students, you'll gain a lot from talking to undergraduates. How did they get to the colleges and universities that they're at? Also, it's going to provide an environment for all of the students to interact with fellow students at all levels. And remember, one of the things that students like to do is they feel, oh, we need to interact with the professional scientists, the professors, the professional engineers and companies. But really, what's just as important, and in some sense more important, is really interacting with your fellow students, because these are going to be your peer groups as you move through your levels and steps in your education and careers. These are the people who you're going to be working with in the future, hopefully, to pursue what you are interested in. And then again, as I mentioned, it's really to obtain advice and guidance on pursuing higher education and also career ambitions and goals. And so really, it's your chance to ask all the questions you may be asking your teachers, now having the ability to ask those who are actually in the careers and in the fields that you are interested in going into. So I just want to remind everyone that Puerto Rico time is 1 hour ahead of Eastern Standard Time, 3 hours ahead of Central Standard Time, and 4 hours ahead of Pacific Standard Time. So if you're setting your clock somewhere coming over, remember it is 1 hour ahead of these time zones. And the poster sessions are on December 5th. And these are the investigator poster sessions. So the professional scientists who are going to be out there. So you can kind of learn about the science they're doing and ask questions and really get a good introduction to that type of research. The graduate poster session is on Friday, December 6th. And the undergraduate, middle school, and high school poster sessions are on December 7th. I encourage everyone to attend the different poster sessions if you are at the meeting at that time, and really get a chance to hear what other scientists and other students are doing. There's also a series of STEM Day activities that will be occurring on December 7th from 11 to 2:30 p.m. And then also, please attend all presentation sessions. Everything is open for you to attend except for the board meeting. So if you wanted to sit in on that, you'll need to talk to one of the board members. And Ken Shields is the ASGSR president here, but you can also talk with Paul Secord, who's our executive director. But essentially, all sessions are open for you to attend. And so review the online or hard copy programs if we have updates and session schedules and talks before attending the meeting to kind of familiar yourself with what's going on and mark off the things you want to attend and see. Also, as I've mentioned, please attend other student posters and also engage them in conversation, and also attend the vendors booths. We will have a NASA booth and as well as an ISS National Labs booth, and also space companies will be there to present and their hardware and other things. And they're extremely interested in talking to you, the students at all levels of education. It's really their chance to get you excited about what they do and to learn about what you're interested in as well, because they know in the future you're going to be possibly working with them or asking to use them in the science that you do. And again, ask questions. This is critical. You want to be able to ask questions. Don't just be there to hear things. There's a question you want to ask it. During the poster sessions, if you attend a session, a talk, and you have a question, please ask it. Also, feel free to approach anyone at the meeting to talk to and ask questions. We love questions and to be able to ask, to provide guidance and provide answers, but also we want to learn who you are and meet you and find out what your ambitions are. Again, walk through the vendor booth exhibit. And if you're looking for someone specific to learn more about, you can find one of us who are going to be there at the meeting, or you can go to the registration desk to ask the question, hey, I'm interested in this, X, Y, and Z. Who do you suggest I go and talk? And we'll help you find folks who have that particular information that you'll want to hear. So please take advantage of everything you can. It's a really great meeting for you to attend. And who attends? This is a list. NASA, International Space Agencies tend to attend. ISS National Lab Leadership Management, scientists. That's our main purpose, is really to hear what is the science that's going on. And then also commercial space companies. So it's a really broad-based attendance that allows you to see everything from the science to the application side on the engineering. The schedule and logistics, as I've already mentioned, the dates of the poster sessions. Dr. Massa and I will have a poster session table set up in or just outside the poster sessions room the day of the poster sessions for the graduate, undergraduate, middle school, and high school. We'll be principally handing out the information for the judges, but if you have any questions you can come to us at those tables. Again, please have your poster on display no later than 30 minutes before the start of the session, regardless of your poster number. And also your poster numbers was provided in your notification letters, and they'll also be available at the registration desk, as well as it should be listed on the annual meetings program abstract list. Each poster is pre-assigned a number, so if you don't have a number, please go to the registration desk to ask, because you should all have it there. And then pin your poster below its corresponding poster board number. So there'll be a number of boards out there in the display area that you'll put your poster board, and also be where you give your presentations in front of your posters. Also, please remove your posters no later than 1 hour after your session ends. If your poster is not removed by that time, they will be removed by an ASGSR staff member and placed at the registration desk. And then the reason for that is we want to make sure there is, for the next session, individuals can set up their posters for their next section. But also, we do reconfigure some of the rooms, such as the post-session room, for the banquet and other activities. And so we'll need you to pull your posters down when you can. And also, just a reminder, the STEM activity is open to all students, and it's on Saturday the 7th. And we'll have more information about that as we get closer to the meeting. All right, now what I want to make sure is that you understand what the focus of the poster session is. I think a lot of the students, graduate through middle school, focus sometimes on that it's a competition. And I want to make you well aware that this is not, a basic poster competition or science competition. Really, what the principal focus is for you to present and discuss your science, technology, and engineering with others. Really educate others about your project and learn from others based on questions and discussions. And the key value is really to learn how to gain experience and develop your skills in communicating and discussing your investigations, hypotheses, and other things. So that's really the principal person of the poster session, is for you to present the great science you're doing to everyone else, to help educate them about what you're learning and what you're doing, and for you to receive on the other end questions from them, maybe advice as well. And included is the poster competition, okay? And so that's all part of it, but the real key focus is you presenting your science, your engineering, your technology to the attendees. What to expect: all posters will be presented during the session, so please be your poster the entire time. We're not splitting it this year. For those of you who were at the ASGSR annual meeting last year, we had evens in the first hour and odds in the second hour. They are all being presented for 2 hours at the same time. Okay. All attendees at the meeting are invited to attend your poster session. And remember, there's going to be a varying level of expertise and knowledge about science you're doing. We have physical scientists who may be looking at a biological poster. So they're going to have very limited or no experience and understanding of the science, but they're very interested in what you're doing. To those who are actually working in the field that you're going to be presenting, and they're going to have 100%. So you're going to get a wide range of questions and ability to discuss based on the diversity of the attendees we have and what they are themselves focused in. You'll also have students asking questions too. So please keep that in mind when you are presenting your posters. And due to all the posters being presented at once, it can be loud in there and next to you. So please speak clearly and at a volume the attendees can hear. Don't shout, but please. And Dr. Romero-Calvo will have more information on this as you go along. Now, more than one person may engage you at the same time, because these are group poster discussions. So just be aware, you may have multiple questions coming from multiple people at the same time, because you're going to have more than one person at your poster potentially at any one time. Attendees, and this is important, are going to assume you are the expert in the science and the activity you're presenting, and you are going to be treated in this manner. They know you're students, but they're all respectful of you and your work. And they know you are presenting a poster because you have something important to say and they want to learn about it. Okay, so that's really, really important. Also, attendees assume that you want to learn more yourself. So they're expecting questions from you too. You don't have to sit there and give information. If you've got a question from somebody because they asked you a question, or they know this field, or they're in it, and you're going, you know what, I wanted to ask a question about this, and because I want to learn more, ask. All right. This is a two-way conversation. And that's really important for you to know. Okay. So the discussions and questions are of key benefits and points to participating in the poster session, as I mentioned. Expectations for your poster presentation: please practice your presentation so that you get comfortable with presenting it and asking questions. And also try to engage the attendees at your poster in the discussion. If you are unsure of a question, ask for clarifications. Ask questions back to advance or improve your own knowledge. Avoid pretending to know the answers. If you don't know it, just simply say, hey, I don't know. I can go look it up, but that's something I don't know. And is that something you may have some details you can help me with? And when discussing your poster, you do not need to have all the answers or the definitive finding or discovery. Sometimes you get a negative result or an inconclusive data, which are important for scientific advancement discourse, right? So really, this is a really great way to understand. And your goal is really that the attendees come away with new knowledge and interest in the science you're pursuing, and they learn something new, but also you advance your own knowledge. You get ideas from improving your investigation, and also you improve your technical presentation skill. And then the underlying is you may meet scientists or others that attend who maybe you can catch up with later at the meeting to talk to you, say, hey, I'm really interested, especially high school students, in your college. Can you tell me more about it? Or for graduate school, or for a postdoc, right? And so this gives you a chance to talk with people in a more formal setting to get to know them, and then go find them later to talk to them in a more informal setting to learn more. Poster competition, what to expect. And this is something we always get a lot of questions about. The judges are responsible for determining if they want to identify themselves. We want to give you a real world experience for a professional poster session and competition. So they're not going to come up and say, I'm the judge. I'm a judge. They can, but they may not. And so assume anyone who is at your poster could be a judge, but really principally assume you are telling them your story of your poster, and that's what they want to hear. Okay, the judges are all volunteers. They may or may not have experience or knowledge in your field and investigations you're presenting. So do not assume questions from or discussions with anyone is reflective of their education level or knowledge of the science you're presenting. It's really your responsibility to answer questions the best to your ability that demonstrates your knowledge and background preparation. Posters are all judged and scored on their own merit. So they're not comparing posters against each other. They are judging your own posters for its intrinsic scientific and what you've done, science. All posters are going to be judged during the session. Again, we are not split time frame for the poster judging. So they're all going to be judged at one time within that 2-hour period. And judges will have prior knowledge as to which posters are from which group, undergraduate, graduate, or say undergraduate, high school, and middle school for that joint session. And obviously the graduate students are all their own single sessions. Judges aren't also expecting a formal structured presentation as you would at a science fair. They're there for you to tell them about your poster, your science, and to talk back and forth, that discourse that you have. And again, clear communication and generate interest in engaging the attendees is very important in telling to the judge in terms of that you understand what you're doing, you've practiced, and that you are interested in what you've done. And also just let you know, the judging comment sheets will be available by poster number at the registration desk by 5 p.m. Saturday on December 7th. They might be earlier, such as the graduate student sheets, because their poster session is earlier. But just remember, by 5 p.m., they'll all be there for you to pick up. This is the criteria for the judging. You should have seen this in the letters, but it's the quality of the project, explaining the importance of the project based on the student's explanation, not theirs. They're not there to judge your poster. I think this is important research. It's on your explanation and rationale and justification for why it's important. Also, presentation skills. Can they hear you? Do they clearly understand what you're saying? Can they read the poster clearly from a certain distance? Again, Dr. Romero-Calvo will have more information on this. Also, there is the graphic composition. Expectations of you: come to the poster session well prepared and practice. Remember that others have likely conducted the science that you are studying and presenting, but not necessarily that is the case. And don't worry if you see you're doing an experiment that's already been done. Explain why. This is a question that could come up. Someone wants to know if your investigation is truly novel or not. You can say, well, no, they did this, but we were interested in this. We were interested in maybe seeing if we got the same results. Science is science, and everything is acceptable. You may get questions that are completely irrelevant to what you're presenting or totally nonsensical. Answer as best you can. Draw the person back to your story. Also consider is that this might be out of the box thinking too, which can be necessary to advance science. So just because they ask a question that looks odd, don't worry about it. Answer as best you can or draw them back in. Also, formal and semi-formal attire are not required. In other words, you don't need to wear a suit, but dress nicely and professional. Most students do wear, like, dress pants or khakis type business casual, and most have polo shirts that have their school or institute on their suits. So it's really what you feel most comfortable in wearing. Just don't wear t-shirts and jeans and sweatshirts and stuff. Talk to your mentors about what to wear, but really it's business casual is acceptable. And remember, this is your science investigation, so please be proud of the work and accomplishment and share your excitement to communicate your research investigation to the community. So again, have fun at your participation at the meeting. Be curious and ask questions of anyone and everyone. Meet and talk with your fellow students. They're going to be your colleagues and peers someday. Challenge yourself to learn something new. And also, just to remind you, you are the Artemis generation, the future of space exploration, science, and engineering. And then we at the ASGSR look forward to meeting you and hearing about what you have to say. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sato. That was very informative. Next up, we're going to have Annie Shelton. She is our current ASGSR Students President-Elect and will be serving at the conference next year as the Student Board President. And she will be talking about what we have planned for students at the conference and how the Student Board works.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Anna, for introducing me. Just going to share my screen. Okay. Okay, can you guys see? Or actually, I'm going to change this. So sorry about that. Okay, can you guys see my screen and the presentation?
Looks great. Thanks.
Awesome. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Annie Shelton. I'm the current Student Board President-Elect. This year at Puerto Rico, I'm going to be transitioning into the president position. So if you guys have any questions during your time in Puerto Rico, please feel free to always come up to me. And if you have any questions before the event, please feel free to reach out to my email down here. So this presentation is just going to kind of go over all the activities that are going on. But I first wanted to start off with just talking about what are the general activities. Kevin kind of had talked about it before. All of these activities listed here, everyone is allowed to go to, but just a reminder that if you are under 18, so if you're in a high school or middle school or attending, you must have a chaperone with you at all times. So when you look at the agenda, I also have this QR code here for the agenda off of our website for a quick link. But you'll see titles with general session, networking events, technical sessions, and poster sessions. So typically for the general sessions, these are going to be large group presentation or a large presentation, typically to the whole ASGSR community, which I definitely recommend attending. You can get a lot of good broad information that's addressing to the whole scientific community. Additionally, we have our networking events where you can meet fellow peers and experts in the field, and this is an opportunity for you to have like one-on-one conversations and really make personal connections. So I definitely would recommend going to the networking events. As Kevin had also said, this is an opportunity where you'll meet potential people who want to hire you and people that you'll be probably working with for the rest of your career. Additionally, there's going to be technical sessions. So these are 15-minute presentations that you'll hear from a variety of either students or companies or professors. And this is gives you insight into what's going on in the field and really goes into detail on specific projects. And then additionally, we have our poster presentations. Even if you're not presenting in whatever poster session may be, the graduate or the high school, middle school sessions, definitely make sure that you're going to the other poster sessions. As you can see, people in all different fields and really get to meet people one-on-one and have like ask questions on a personal level, which can be very, very valuable. So additionally on the schedule, we do have ticketed events. So these are things that you would need to pay for in advance. They did just announce our pre-conference tour of San Juan, which I definitely recommend going to if you have the opportunity to. This is going to be basically an island tour, which will be super fun, and that will be on Wednesday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. I added the link here, but if you registered, you should have gotten a more detailed email stating what the event is. And then additionally, we do have our banquets and award ceremony on Saturday. So when you registered, you would have had to pay extra for dinner. But you are allowed to go to the karaoke event afterwards if you did not sign up for the banquet dinner, but you will need a ticket in order to get into the event. And on your badge, it'll say your food preferences and if you have allergies or whatnot. Additionally, so looking at our specific events for students, so we do something super fun each year called Student Fireside Chats, and this is going to be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, each from 3 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. And this is a very exclusive event for students where you're going to be able to hear kind of more on a personal level. Specifically, these 3 people listed, they're going to give you kind of a background on how they got into the field, and career advice that they may have, and it gives you an opportunity to have more of a personal presentation, so it's not going to be as technical. I definitely recommend looking into these people's backgrounds and coming ready with some questions, as it's going to be a great opportunity to really form a personal connection with these people. So on Thursday, we have Olivia, who is the founder and CEO of Rodam Scientific. She'll be giving insight into what it's like running a commercial company, specifically biotech in space. On Friday, we're going to hear from Aubrey, who works at NASA Kennedy Space Center under the biological and physical sciences sector, where her focus is on plant and microbial biology. And then on Saturday, we're going to hear from JP, who works at NASA Johnson Space Center, focusing in the human research program. And his background is in animals, humans, and translational research. Additionally, for our student activities, on Friday specifically, we will have a PI and industry student meet and greet. So this will be another networking opportunity exclusively for students, where you will be able to really have one-on-one conversations with experts in the field, and this will be a great opportunity for you to form and solidify even further personal relationships. And then following that, we are going to have our college student mixer, and that's going to be where we will host our student board elections. We will have dinner and food provided during this event as well. So please make sure to come by and hear your fellow board members talk about the board, and then also hear pitches from students looking to be elected onto the student board. And then, as Kevin had said, we do have our poster sessions Friday and Saturday mornings. So just kind of going over a little bit about the student board. So we have 8 elected positions, where we have president-elect myself. We have our education and outreach, our event coordinator, secretary and treasurer, and DEI, social media and website coordinator. And then additionally, we have a SICA coordinator. So the student board, all of us come from a huge, very diverse set of backgrounds, ranging from either fundamental physics to human research to plants, and we all bring a different perspective to the board. So if you guys see any of these people around at the conference, please feel free to come up to them and talk to them about really anything. We I believe half of us will definitely be there at Puerto Rico, and we'll be at the student booth. So that will be kind of a safe space. If you guys ever have any questions or want advice, please feel free to come and talk to us. So basically, being on the student board, we meet every month. We go over kind of helping plan the student activities for the conference, but then additionally, each year we go to Washington, D.C., where we meet with people on Capitol Hill and help advocate for biological and physical sciences. And this is a super fun event, and I personally learned a lot about what it's like on the Hill and how the government funding situation works out. And it was overall just super, super fun. And then additionally, if you are able to go to the conference, we do ask to help host the student booth. So definitely make sure to stop by. And we'll be selling this year's t-shirt, which also goes towards supporting the student board. So some of those funds that we make helps us go to Washington, D.C. And then also we do have the opportunity to host other student events. And then the QR code to the right is the elections guide if you wanted to know more information on the positions. So if you're interested in how you can run, we will be sending out an email closer to the conference where you will be able to submit your application, where you can choose which position you'd like to run for. We ask that you upload a election PowerPoint slide, which is basically a slide that's about you and the position that you want to run for. Or if you cannot attend the conference and you still want to run for the student board, you are welcome to additionally submit a 1-minute video presentation that we can show during the student mixer. And then during the student mixer, as I mentioned, you will be presenting your 1-minute pitch to the student community, where following that, the students will be voting on who to elect into the board. And more information is going to be emailed out to you guys and to the whole community on how this process works with more details, but definitely keep this in mind, as the student board is a super, super valuable opportunity where you get to meet a lot of different types of people and build different skill sets than you typically could at school. So this is just an example of a template slide of what to present in your pitch. This is also would be attached with the application. And then this is just an example of my slide when I first ran on the student board for the social media coordinator. And that was my position actually before becoming president-elect. And then this is also my example slide of from last year when I ran for president-elect. So you can really make your slide as unique as you would like, or you can make it simple. I like to add a lot of pictures, so that's why I don't know, I like to make things fun, but that's just me. So additionally, if you don't have time to run for the student board, or you are not eligible, we welcome anyone to participate in our student/early career associate program, where it's basically an opportunity for you to get involved with ASGSR if you are limited to time or eligibility, and you can basically put into it whatever you'd like to get out of it. But with that being said, it does offer a lot of exclusive opportunities where you do get to participate in social and networking events, and you kind of get to, it's like a pre-student board position, which can be super fun. And we've connected a lot of students through this program who have had really valuable experiences. So if you're interested in this, please visit our website. And then additionally, you can shoot me an email and I can get you connected with our SECA board. And then additionally, in our newsletter every month, we do put out applications for the SECA program. And then with that being said, make sure to follow us on our social medias. We have an Instagram and X, and we post frequently on there on general announcements, and we'd love to feature anybody who wants to show us what they're doing with their research right now as well. So with that being said, thank you.
Thanks, Annie. Yeah, if you all are attending the conference, please feel free to stop by the student board table. We are more than happy to be a friendly face and someone to go to with questions. I also put in the chat the ASGSR students mailing list link. If you click that link tree, you can sign up for our mailing list there and get more information. Next up, we're going to have Dr. Alvaro Romero-Calvo talk about how to give a successful poster presentation at the ASGSR conference.
Thank you, Anna, and everyone. So let me start sharing my screen in here. Okay, here we go. Wonderful. So you have heard a lot already. Can you please, Hannah, confirm that you can see the screen?
Yep, looks great.
Wonderful. So you have heard a lot already. Let me touch base on something that Annie just said, and I think she's very right. You know, I teach space systems design and low gravity fluid mechanics at Georgia Tech. My laboratory has 14 grad students and 30 undergrads. We're becoming a very big laboratory specializing in microgravity research. And you know, I have very bright kids in here who work on all areas of this field, right? And they are doing an amazing job. But there is one aspect that is hardest to see, or harder to see in any other student in graduate education, which is networking, right? Most people just stay in the lab doing research, sometimes really amazing research, but that is not enough, right? It is not really enough. Particularly, you want to remain in this field, right? You really want to be working for SpaceX or Blue Origin or Virgin Galactic. It is very, very convenient that you start talking with people in your field so that you get to to understand what is going on, right? So something as simple as that, understanding what is going on, because that is not written in technical articles. It is not written in any website. It is something you see and you discuss and you discover when you talk with people. And it turns out that, and I talk from personal experience, the best way to get to know what is going on is to get involved in the organization of a society that represents your technical goals, right, and your technical interests. If you're really interested in microgravity research and you want to get into this field, there is nothing better you can do but getting involved in the ASGSR Student Society. And it sounds like a commercial, but believe me, it is not. You will get to know everyone in this field and what everyone is doing and so on. When I was finishing my PhD, I became a professor at Georgia Tech. And the steps leading to that point were largely informed by conversations with my colleagues at ASGSR. What is going on in this field? What do people care about? Where is the funding going, right? Those are the key questions that you will answer if you get involved with this or any other society, right? It doesn't need to be ASGSR if this is not your field. But I just wanted to emphasize that point. That is super important. I wish all students were aware of this, because sometimes the amble of daily routines really hampers what you can do in the long term, your long-term vision and your long-term goals, right? That is the utility of a professional society. So don't hesitate to get involved. That is the best way for you to learn and to get to know a lot of interesting people, right? But anyway, this presentation is about posters and how to prepare and how to deliver them. Much of what I'm going to say has been highlighted already by Kevin and Annie. I just wanted to give a more academic, maybe, perspective, right, on this. So what is a poster presentation? Well, in a poster presentation, you're going to be in a big room like the one you can see in this image, right? And your poster will be usually located near another poster, right? So this will be a big hall where all the participants of the conference will enter and they will start walking around and looking for posters they like. For instance, I'm a physical scientist, right? So I have a very strong interest in watching, in reading posters and taking a look at posters related to physical sciences, because I want to be informed of what is going on in my field. So this is what you're going to find. You're going to get a spot in this room. You're going to hang your poster in there, and you're going to present your research. Now, there is a problem with that, right? The problem is that you have a lot of competition. So think of it like a Christmas market, right? This is a Christmas market yes, it is in Madrid, Spain, right? You have all these little stores with all these different products, right? Generally speaking, when you want to send a message across and attract the right people, what you're trying to do is to highlight your research somehow. You want to find that hook that attracts people to your poster and makes it stand up in the crowd, right? Not in a sort of competition, but more in a sort of, okay, you want to send a message across very, very fast and very effectively. So how do you do it, right? And there is a lot of, there have been a lot of thought invested in this kind of process, right? And it is more of an art at this point. So you have to stand up in this environment, in this highly competitive, sort of speaking again, environment. And how do you do that? And most importantly, why do you present a poster? How does a good poster look like, right? How do you get your message across, right? How do you attract people's attention? How do you make sure that everyone reads and understands what you are doing with your research? So these are the key questions, right? So you need to know that. When you go to the poster session and you have prepared and invested so much time, the first thing you need to ask yourselves is, what am I doing here? And usually the answer is you want to make, to establish new collaborations, to get to know people in your field, to, spread the word about your research so that people get to know you, right? And get to understand that you are doing that kind of research in that particular university or company, right? So first thing is understand what you're doing in there. And once you have understood that, you need to start developing a story, right? So the first thing is, why do we go to deliver a poster presentation? As I said, there are many, many different reasons for this. If you're a student, usually you want to do this because you want to get feedback on your work, right? Your advisor may be an expert in A, but it turns out that your research also touches different areas in a different field, right? And maybe you find the expert in that field out there. Well, that is going to be useful. That's going to make your research better, and you better also as a researcher. You may want to interact with other people in this field. You may find job opportunities in there, right? One of my students just got a job at SpaceX after a connection he made at ASGSR. We don't have many SpaceX people in there, but sometimes they come, right? And also, not less importantly, when you go to a conference, particularly this conference in Puerto Rico, sometimes you go for fun, right? you have a lot of, you are very interested in the science, but you're traveling to a very exotic destination and you just want to go there, make friends, and hang around there and try to know a different culture and a different city and so on, right? So all these are valid reasons. But at the bottom of this, what you need to keep in mind is that a poster presentation is a very unique concept, right? It is not an oral presentation that you give to an audience and you're in front of a room with 100 people, right? Who may or may not be listening, and you need to grab their attention, right? The poster presentation is a much more personal setting. You are there speaking one-on-one with someone who has stopped in front of your poster because that someone is interested in what you're doing. So use that opportunity, right? That someone may be an old systems engineer from NASA. It may be the owner of a space company looking to recruit someone, right? So use that opportunity and don't look down on anyone stopping on your poster, right? I had this bad experience a couple months ago of someone who was there just giving his poster presentation, and I looked very young, right? And this was a student. And he thought he couldn't get anything out of me because I look like another student sometimes, right? So this person didn't pay me any attention until he knew that I was a professor at Georgia Tech, right? You need to be careful with these things because you never know when the opportunity may come from or even what that opportunity may entail, right? So just go there, do the best possible job with every possible individual. Maybe that individual becomes your workmate or your boss in the future. You never know that. So use this opportunity to interact with your audience, to interact with the people in the conference. You never know when a good opportunity may present itself, right? Okay, so how do you prepare a nice poster? How do you make sure that you achieve these objectives? There are several rules that you need to follow. The first one is, no matter what happens, there are two things you can do. There are two things that can happen, what you can do and what you can't do, right? I love this scene from Pirates of the Caribbean. In this case, ASGSR has some guidelines, so stick to the guidelines. You know that the maximum poster size is 4 by 4 feet, right? So don't bring a larger poster because it's not gonna fit in there. I have taken the liberty of taking a screenshot of Kevin's presentation, These are some other guidelines from ASGSR. If you weren't there at that point, I suggest you take a screenshot now and review these guidelines after the presentation today. Things like being there early, putting your poster on the wall in time, getting it away on time as well, right? So make sure you don't miss those little details. Don't show up at a poster session that is not yours, and start planning today. So okay, if you need it, you have taken a screenshot of it, so we are good there. Okay, so you're following the rules. You are getting there. You have the poster of the right size. What do you do next? Well, a poster is a means of scientific communication at the end, right? In the same way that when you tell a story to your kids or to your friends, right? You are structuring as a bunch of information. Right? You're crafting a storyline in the same way as when you write a paper. So your poster has to be the physical manifestation of that story, right? You need to start with an introduction. How do you do things, methods, results, conclusions, acknowledgements, etc., right? So try to follow this logical flow of information in your poster and really in the structure of the poster itself. Don't mess up the organization of all the information in there. You want also to use sections, columns, split information in logical ways, right? Carefully select and order your figures, right? And also remember that at least in the US, people read from the top to the bottom of the poster and from left to right. This is not the same in all cultures, right? You can be as creative with this as you want. And in fact, I'm going to show you some pretty cool examples at the end of the presentation. Rule number 3, remember that a poster is a visual medium, okay? This is not an oral presentation. This is not a conference paper. This is a poster. You have a limited space. You need to use it in a visual way. You're going to be together with 100 other posters, and people are going to be there taking a look at your posters after a whole day of sessions, of conference sessions. People tend to get tired. If you have never been at a conference, you will see how tired you get after a couple of hours of presentations. So you need to make things easy for your audience, right? Leave blank space. If this is the first time you're preparing a poster, you're going to make 2 mistakes. Mistake number 1, adding a ton of information. Mistake number 2, crowding the space with figures, plots, background images, and so on, right? Leave a space. Let your poster breathe. That is super important. In this case, you need to follow the old rule of keeping things short and simple. That is always way more effective. And if whoever is taking a look at your poster wants more information, the solution is just to add a link of a QR code to a paper, to a laboratory website, or to your email account, right? And these people will get in touch with you. That is not going to be a problem. Use the poster to grab people's attention, and don't pretend it to be like a journal article. Structure your text. Don't include long paragraphs of text in your poster because nobody is going to read it. And be extremely careful with the figures. The figures are the core of your poster, okay? Include plots, drawings, and pictures. Make sure that your figures can be read from at least 6 feet away. That is the golden rule, okay? Include an eye-catching image in the poster. I'm going to show you some examples about this. Something that, if I am 20 meters away from your poster, I should be able to say, oh, that's an interesting poster. I'm interested in that, right? The eye-catching image has that purpose. It attracts the attention, and then people read whatever you're presenting there. Finally, remember that some people, about 4% of the world population, about 300 million people, are colorblind, okay? So use a nice palette of colors so that people can actually read what you are showing in there, right? There is a tool called Color Brewer. It is here highlighted. You can download it and you can explore different palettes of colors for your poster to make sure that everyone can actually read your information. Remember that the poster should support and not compete with your explanation. And this applies also to presentations. If you're presenting something and you have a ton of text in your slide, people are not going to listen to you or read the slide, right? You need to use this medium to support whatever you are telling to your audience. That is super important. The next rule is, okay, you have prepared the most wonderful poster in the world, right? You have spent, you were in the other room the night before of the poster session at 1 a.m. crafting the very last details of the poster to just tune it to the last possible detail, right? And then you go to the UPS store in there, print your poster, and bring it to the conference room. You are there in front of 3-4 people who are interested in your work, and suddenly you realize that you don't know what to say. That is a situation that you want to avoid. You need to remember that in the end, the poster is not going to do the job. You are there to tell your story, okay? So you need to be prepared to give a 3-minute elevator pitch and explain what your research or your work is about, right? And it is super important too that you remember not to use jargon, okay? Avoid jargon when possible. The point of a poster is not to illustrate everyone about how smart you are. Everyone knows you are smart, otherwise you wouldn't be there, right? The point of a poster presentation is to make everyone, and when I say everyone, I mean everyone, right? Understand what you are presenting. As Kevin said, some people may not be from your field. Every time I see a poster on biology, I'm totally obscure, right? I don't have anything to say about that because it is not my field, right? So make it easy for everyone to understand what you're doing. And in the end, all the research you can do, no matter how complex it is, can be explained in very simple terms with very simple analogies and very simple words. Use those words and not a very hard, non-comprehensible piece of text to explain what you are trying to do in here. Because persuasive, convincing, and remain to be genuine, right? Don't memorize your speech. The point of an elevator pitch is not to memorize something, it's to make it look natural, right? So make sure to practice that as well. And also remember that you will need to answer questions. Ask friends to take a look at your poster, ask them to come up with questions, and then be prepared for that. Because sometimes the only way to prepare for questions is actually to prepare for questions, right? For anything that can come up your way. So remember, the final point here, a poster presentation is as much about you as it is about the poster. So don't leave this part, ignore until the presentation. So let me show you some examples of bad and good posters to maybe give you some ideas for your own, okay? This is an example of a horrible poster, okay? It is crowded with text. The images are inconsistent and probably unrelated to the research. The background is this kind of a star background, right? That is extremely distracting, makes the text very hard to read. The organization of the boxes is kind of okay, but the alignment between the boxes has been done in 5 minutes. There is no alignment or no organization here. There are a ton of logos that takes a ton of space, and probably that's not even good, right? Not even the sponsor would like something like that. If you take a look at the text, it turns out that when a poster is poorly prepared, the research behind it tends to also be poor, right? So this is the facade of your building, that is your research, right? So make sure to give a good impression to everyone around you. Avoid this kind of 1990s PowerPoint font sizes and font styles, right? With this kind of Star Wars kind of thing. This is not a movie. This is a scientific presentation. Keep it short and simple, always. So avoid this kind of style at all costs. Okay? Let me show you some good examples. I'm going to conclude with that. This is a classical poster organization, right? You have the eye-catching image or the hook of your poster, which is this little bird. People interested in natural sciences will immediately be attracted to this poster, right? And then you just follow a logical flow of information in there. You can notice that the font sizes are not very small, so they are easy to read. The color palette is very consistent and very coherent, right? So this is a nice poster to present your work. Here is another one. The big crab in the middle is an eye-catching image for you to attract people's attention, right? And then you can see all the research, the plots. Again, something very simple. The point here is to focus on the high-level ideas of your research, not to go down to the details. Here are two more. I don't like this as much, but it is a more classical construction of it, right? Another eye-catching image in the center, in this case, a graphical abstract, and then all the research that goes with it. This one in here is one that I do love, right? But this requires a ton of work. This is about pigments in feathers of birds, right? So someone spent the time to craft this beautiful image of a bird and then to add the text around, right? And you can see that this huge image of this blue bird, the blue jay, it is attracting a ton of attention. It makes the poster look so pretty. Then the organization of the text itself is not ideal. There is a ton of text in here, so it is not really, it's not helping very much. But only because of this beautiful image and all the time that goes into here, if I saw something like this at the ASGSR meeting, I would immediately consider this poster for a poster award, right? And that's not the final goal, but the point is this poster definitely attracts attention, right? So that is what you want. Here's another example. totally different topic, very, very pretty as well. I do like the overall organization of the content in this example, right? The big eye-catching image in the center of the poster, but then everything kind of orbiting around it. Super beautiful and also super descriptive of what is going on. Even I, who am a damn fluid dynamicist, right, can understand what is going on with this poster. That is where you want to get. And here are some examples from my own group. This is from ASGSR last year. This guy here is Sam. He's one of my PhD students. He has just graduated. His poster, as you can see, is super simple, but it has all the elements, right? It is has the eye-catching image, not a large amount of text, and all the information is properly distributed in there. And at the left, you can see our NASA NIAC work, also with the eye-catching image and a bit more of technical information, properly organized and properly structured, right? If you are curious about this, you have to know that this is a field by itself. Some people spend a lot of time and PhDs studying how to convey visual information, right? So check more great posters in the links that I'm including in here. There is a data visualization blog at nature.com as well that is actually pretty good. And there are many books in the field. I just gave an example here called The Craft of Scientific Presentations. So with that, I think we can finalize this and just answer some questions. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. That was very informative. Students, if you have questions, you can either drop them in the Q&A section, and I'm happy to read them aloud for you, or you can also raise your hand, which will let us unmute you to ask your question to our speakers directly.
Before we get to the questions, I'd like to thank the ISS National Labs for hosting this really great session to help the students with their posters as well as their participation. Also, Anna Wadhwa for hosting all of us for this meeting. So thank you very much. It really makes a huge difference in our society as well as to the students. So thank you.
Of course, thank you to all of our speakers as well for all of your time, donating your insights for our students. We have one in the Q&A asking to confirm poster sizes. Is it 4x4 or 3x4?
It's 4x4. That was confirmed with Dr. Massa.
I think someone had raised their hand, but I don't see it anymore. Okay, someone asked, I don't have a school advisor or any professional guidance, and I've been doing this completely independently. What resources can I use to design my poster?
So I guess that one is for me. So I had a slide at the end of the presentation. I am also happy to share my presentation slides and some resources I have to my lab members. Just send me an email. I'm going to write down my email in the chat. And I will be happy to share them. And then it's just following the recipe, right? These ideas of having a big eye-catching image in the middle of it, of the poster, and trying to organize the information around it, and trying to attract people's attention, reach some balance, some harmony in your poster. That is the same for everything. But yeah, happy to answer any questions and even review your poster if you're interested.
Also, go ahead, Annie.
Oh, I was just going to say, as a student too, there's poster templates that you can look up online to use for PowerPoint, just giving the student perspective as well, if that's helpful.
Yeah, I was also going to add on our social medias as well, and on our student website, we do have a lot of examples from the previous years of student posters that I would definitely make sure to check out.
Yeah, the other thing too is that our presentations, at least mine, will definitely be provided to the student board and will be posted on one of their website location, as well as the presentations being recorded so that you can go over it again if there were some things you might have missed. And we'll be sending out the links to those after probably tomorrow, I think, or as soon as they're ready. Yeah, as soon as they're ready.
Another person asks, do you recommend using the maximum poster size, or is 4x3 acceptable?
Yeah, 4x3 is acceptable, but as Dr. Romero-Calvo said, you want to make sure that if it is smaller, it's still readable and has a really nice presentation size to it. 4x4 is the maximum that you can go. That if you just hold that as the max, the ceiling.
And then someone else asks for attire and professionalism. What are general opinions on visible tattoos?
It's personal preference, but generally when you're in a professional setting, it's best to cover them up. But really, it's personal preference. People have tattoos, and you see them at conferences and meetings or presentations. I think it's pretty well acceptable, but I think you might want to consider covering. But really, it's personal preference.
Yeah, so some people may have something against it. I personally don't. I don't really care, and I don't make any judgment on it. And most people don't, right? But it is true that traditionally speaking, right, in scientific or professional settings, it's some people don't regard them very well. So your choice. If I see a nice tattoo, I'm gonna say, oh, that's a cool tattoo. That's the most that's gonna happen, right? So your choice, really.
Any other questions, folks? Okay, it looks not. So thank you again, Dr. Sato, Dr. Romero-Calvo, and Annie for being here today, as well as ISS National Labs for helping us host this event. I will be posting the webinar recording on our ASGSR students YouTube as soon as possible. I will send out an email when that is ready. Any last questions? Otherwise, we can say goodnight and thank you, everybody. Okay, thank you. Have a good night. Thank you all for your time.
I hope.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
See you in Puerto Rico. Bye.